crying again? Because of the meth?
Is it the meth convo?
That's what I'm curious about.
Is it a...
You okay?
Oh,
Is it? Did I say something? Is it me?
Hi.
What did I say?
No, it's not you.
It's not.
No, you're good.
Is it Andrew? Andrew, you fucking scumbag.
Go away.
Andrew, make a
Do
silly
you want
face.
me to talk shit to Andrew for a little bit? Andrew, how you, Andrew?
The PCP.
I thought PCP was
PCP? What is that?
platelets.
Andrew,
Like a natural eye filler, platelets.
you scoundrel! You are a scoundrel, Andrew.
I'm
You ain't nothing but a hound dog.
Andrew, put your little red screen on. Show us the red. Show us your evil.
Yeah.
We know you're
Put
evil,
your
Andrew.
horns
Put the
on.
red thing. There it is.
It stays on.
His face.
You scoundrel.
I can even see the
Andrew.
devil horns peeking out.
What are you eating?
He's eating a cookie.
Can I have some?
Wow.
He's eating a cookie.
That sounds good.
My wife's cookies are not for you.
Not for you.
Hey, fair enough.
Wait, Andrew, do you have children? You said you brought some girls into this world. How many kids do you
I
have?
have children. I have 5. I have 3 stepkids and then 2 of my own.
What are the age ranges, like youngest to oldest?
The oldest are in their 20s, and the youngest is, I don't know, like 12 or 13 or 14 or something.
How old were you when you became a dad?
I was pretty young.
How old?
I was in, I don't remember my exact age. It was like early 20s.
So Dilf.
I have a few friends who've been married since like early 20s and they're now parents. But what do you think was like the biggest thing, if anything, to change for you as a man in the way that you saw women after having your first child? Did anything change? And if it did, what?
No, so I think that my opinion of women was pretty well informed up until that point. Maybe not great, but it was pretty well informed. But understanding women's nature, raising women, that's a whole different story, whole different thing. It turns out that this idea that that women are perfect until a man corrupts their angelic nature is complete and total fucking bullshit. So that's the thing that I learned more than anything quickly, is that that is not true at all, not even a little bit. And there's a lot of what she called social engineering, which tries to reinforce a narrative that women are born angelic and perfect, and only evil men, it's only after evil men corrupt their angelic nature that they do anything which is bad, and that's just not the case.
No, I would agree with you on that. I think hormones play a huge role into it, specifically like if you ever met a 14-year-old girl, they could probably use an exorcism. We've all been 14-year-old girls here.
Yeah, I don't think it's hormones. I have a different way that
What
I
do you
look
think
at
it
it.
is?
So, well, I think that there's a superpower which is corrupting to women, especially beautiful women. And I think it would be just as corrupting to men if they had it. So think of it as like you're an X-Men. And your mutation, your superpower is that if you're young and beautiful between the ages of, let's say, 18 and 27, basically anything you want from men, you can get. Basically anything you want. If you want a door opened, you're going to get it. If you need money, you're going to get it. If you need resources, you're going to get that. If you get in trouble, then likely your punishment's going to be much lighter. Now, it's like this great superpower, but it corrupts too at the same time, right? Because it displaces accountability. And since it displaces accountability, once that beauty fleets, women seem to have trouble taking accountability after that. They go, wait a second, it used to be that doors magically opened for me. Gifts just showed up at my house. People just gave me resources and attention. Once that fades, though, they never learned the accountability portion. And so I think that's a massive social issue. And because matrons in society have been rejected, meaning older women who are now always just looking to kind of reattach themselves to their youth instead of telling women to have good expectations, the matrons of society, which are designed to guide women through this, they're gone. They're summarily rejected. And instead, they try to hold these ridiculous beauty standards into their 60s and 70s where they look like J-Lo and this type of thing. And it's insane. So that's the big eye opener.
Yeah, I think it's
that I got.
Not directly opposed. I think it's just different than what I was saying, which is like I think women specifically when they're going through puberty for the first time, just as somebody who was a teenage girl and had other teenage friends, that there's some something, I don't know, I think women are not informed enough about hormones. We're never really taught about it, how it affects you, how people after giving birth have like postpartum depression and they can literally go psychotic because of it, even after abortions too. People don't talk about this stuff.
Men have the same thing. Like,
I know, but it sucks that we're not taught about it.
Yeah,
this is often not thought about. But men, when they're going through puberty, right, rite of passage for men, they get ultra violent sometimes with each other, highly angry, very upset, very confused, right? They have a hormone siege inside of their bodies as much as women do. But their accountability is not taken away. So the accountability for keeping those things in check, that's never displaced from them. It does seem like it's more displaced from women.
How is that new, though?
Men,
since the
What's
beginning
that?
of time, men have been held more accountable than women because we've expected men to be the leaders.
Yeah,
so if
but
you guys want to be the
that's true.
leaders, you should expect to be
Yeah.
held accountable as well, more than
let
your
me tell you
counterparts.
how silly this is. Sure, you know what? I'll concede the argument. You're right. Men should be held more accountable. The thing is, though, is if you give them more responsibility, right? If you give them more responsibility, then you're going to have to also give them the authority. And so
I
you
don't
can't say,
disagree.
well, we're going to take authority away from men, which is what egalitarianism has done, and still give them the same amount of responsibility and have the expectation that you're going to have a society which isn't fucked from top to bottom, because it is. So the thing is like, sure, hold men more accountable than women, but as long as they have the authority, right, nobody's going to say anything about it. But the second you say we're equal, well, then you need to have equal accountability.
I don't disagree at all. I love the patriarchy. I think men should lead, and us women can focus on painting our nails, making sourdough starters, being moms. I think the
Making
feminist
babies,
movement is the only reason that
cooking.
women have to work nowadays because of the dual income. And I think
No, it's not.
It's a shame.
It's not to be pampered. No, it's the opposite, right? The idea. So this is the faux idea of what the patriarchy is supposed to do, which is enable you to be a pampered princess. It's not. What the patriarchy is supposed to do is protect you so that you can fulfill your duties and responsibilities to society, and that would including reproduction and being matrons for the next generation.
I literally
not getting
said
your
be a
nails
mom
done.
and make sourdough starters. That goes hand in hand with being a traditional housewife.
Goes
Makes
hand in hand
bread
with
for your
being pampered,
family.
being a pampered princess.
Have you ever
That's what
made
goes hand in
sourdough
hand.
starters? If you think
You
making
didn't
a
say,
sourdough,
okay, did you say anything about duty and responsibility? You know, you said,
I said,
I think women should get their nails
paint your
done, and they
nails,
should
make sourdough,
they should
and
do
be a
arts and
mother.
crafts, They should get Post-it notes.
Be a
Like,
mother
no.
and make sourdough. If you've never made sourdough, then you don't know how hard it is to keep that thing alive. And it's part of like
Oh,
making
Lord.
fresh bread for your family, making natural ingredients, meals that don't have toxic
learn how to
chemicals
make
in
bread.
them. I think that all goes
No,
hand in
listen,
hand.
Those are making sourdough bread, stuff like this, the ingredients for it, with whatever your modern luxuries are. They're just that. They're luxuries. They're gifted. They're literally gifted to women by men. Modern luxuries are. Definitely women are not gifting women modern luxury. That's insane. The thing is that women have a duty and responsibility, an ethical duty and responsibility under Christian ethics to multiply, to have families, to reproduce. They have a duty under Christian ethics to raise the next generation correctly and be matrons to young women so that we don't have the problem of pornography and things like this. That's all gone. So as long as that duty is displaced from society for women, and instead all that's left is, well, I love the patriarchy as long as they give me a life of luxury. We have essentially, that's still just as regressive as the idea that, well, egalitarianism is bad and I would prefer the patriarchy because I get a life of luxury. They're equally bad. It's an equally bad way to view it, I think.
Well, I didn't say any of that. I think you think I think that because you think you know how women think, but it's not, oh, let's just have the patriarchy
I
and
know I
do
know
nothing.
how
I'm
Wait, hold on,
very
just let
into
her finish,
traditional
let her finish.
Yeah, please. I'm very supportive of traditional relationships, especially like in Judaism. That's a huge thing, and that's something I've always been raised around. And if we're talking about, you wanted to bring up Christianity, then in Judaism, there's a lot where men are the leaders, but women are actually holier. They have a higher connection to God because of their ability to bring life into this world and everything around that. So to me, if you want to say that, like, it's just funny that these old-fashioned, what were commodities or just basic necessities, actually, being able to make bread, you had to make your own bread. Cleaning your home, women used to have to make their own cleaning supplies and be like somewhat chemists. So I think now it's seen as a luxury to have that time, and thankfully society has evolved in that front. But like, I don't know what impression or what made you think that I think that the patriarchy means that we get to sit home all day being a
Because
mom.
you started with because we can paint our nails.
It's called a joke. You don't have to be
was
so
your lead-in.
serious 24/7. You ever heard of a joke?
Yeah.
I think you'd like
yeah,
them.
well, sure. But I mean, have you ever heard of a criticism, right? So the thing is like,
Yeah, it's what
whether
you've
you're
been
saying
dishing all
it,
show.
whether you're saying it in a joking manner or not, right? It moves to the point that I'm saying, which is that in modernity, women seem to have a massive sense of entitlement, including the ones who say, well, I'm a traditionalist. It's like, really? Are you? Or are you looking for somebody who can provide you for a life of luxury? That's the question. And usually when you get to the nitty gritty of it, when you look at what modern women want, they want a life of luxury and a man who can provide it. I don't hear them really talk about their duties and responsibilities. Like, what is your duty to society? Do you have one?
Yes.
I've said like
No, hers. Yeah, you
I've said maybe
specifically.
50 times that I think being a mom is the best thing you could do. But this is why, and even though we're
You have
both
a duty to be one.
even though we're both conservatives, like that's my ultimate goal in life. I think above any career or anything, being a mom and having a family, literally, this
Yeah,
is
but do
not
you
something
have
you
a
have to
duty
suck
to
out
do
of me.
it?
I say this on my social media every day, but this is why I have a problem with, despite us both being conservatives, this is something that I think for your own sake, if you really want to have impactful messaging and like continue to have people who maybe disagree, I don't disagree with you on most things, but even you, like to actually listen to what you're saying, a lot of times when like people on the far right, or I don't think you're far right, but I do think that on our side of the aisle, you can very clearly tell that the way you're speaking of it from a place where like you genuinely have disdain or hard feelings towards women. It's not from a place of like, I love women, they're so amazing, we need to support them, make them mothers, we need to let them, like
I'm
we
not
need to
here to kiss
protect
your
women
ass,
at
lady.
home. You're like, what's your duty to
I'm not here to kiss
society?
your
That doesn't
ass,
sound
lady.
like a
What are you
mature
talking about?
man at all. And like,
Why do you
that's
think
from somebody
men's
who's
job is to
traditional.
kiss your ass? My job isn't to kiss your ass.
Who
My
said
job
kiss
is to
my
tell you
ass? I said
what's
to
true.
actually want women to be mothers
I
because
think
we
you're
want to
disdainful
protect
to
them.
men. I think you're disdainful to men. I think that
Me?
you only care about materialism. I think that those are the values that you have, and you haven't said a word about duty. But yet, at the same time, your criticism to me is that if we even have a dispute or an argument, suddenly it's disdainful towards all women.
No.
I've raised women into the next generation. Have you? No. I've actually done it. And so the thing is like, before you make these insane criticisms about what the right should or shouldn't be, right, maybe you should learn things like, oh, I don't know, basic libertarian economics and laissez-faire, even though you have a degree in political science, which is fucking insane, right? I think, personally, that what you are is a misandrist and a covert feminist in disguise, LARPing as a conservative,
okay.
because that's what most of you
Okay.
do.
Yeah. That makes, I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I wasn't, one, that's barbaric. But two, like I've literally
What's barbaric?
to say that I'm an undercover feminist when I've literally gone head to head with feminists for 5 years and all my content and everything I
what
believe
is
and
feminism?
preach
What is it?
about. Let me finish. How about that? Okay? Let me finish talking. I think you misunderstood what I was saying. I wasn't
don't you
linked.
give a
I
finger
wasn't
snap and you
Hold on,
linked.
Andrew,
Andrew, can you
just
shut
let her
up for 30
Andrew,
seconds?
just
Let me
let her
I
talk.
like the patriarchy. I thought you
Andrew,
loved it.
Andrew,
let her
Aren't
finish.
you
try.
supposed to be silent?
Can somebody mute him?
Andrew,
Aren't
just
you
let her
supposed to be
finish.
silent?
Andrew, just let her finish. Go ahead, Deborah.
It's that loud.
Go ahead, Deborah.
I think you misunderstood what I was saying and took it as a personal criticism when I wasn't saying it as personal criticism. I was saying that what you're saying, I agree with the majority of what you're saying, and I think it would come across better, and that this is a disconnect between men and women, even on the same side of the political aisle, or people who probably share the majority of how they think society should be run, things like that. I really do think that. I think that this is a broken messaging, and I would wish that more people would listen to this message, and I think you don't realize listening to it, as somebody who does agree, that it doesn't seem like it's coming from a place of we should protect women as a society, and their best thing that they, like, not their only thing, but women are mothers, that's their role in society, they're the matriarchs of society, and therefore we should protect them. We shouldn't force them to work. We shouldn't have to have them working 9 to 5s and being corporate slaves to their bosses who don't care about them.
We're going
And I think the
50-50.
difference is coming from a place of genuinely loving women and understanding their importance to the world and to traditional relationships and traditional values and Christianity and everything alike. It seems sometimes that the disconnect in the messaging is that it's just coming from a place of like, you're a woman, you have a duty to do this, when rather, why do we have that duty? Like, not why do we have that duty aside from the religion, but like, where does it actually come from? Why do you truly believe that women should be protected or things like that? I just think messaging wise, and this wasn't a personal attack, I think more people would listen and they should listen. It just doesn't seem so much like it's coming off right now from a place of like, women should be protected in sports, in the workforce, in homes, and everything alike. And that's all I was saying. I wasn't trying to personally attack you. And if you really think I'm a feminist, then that's very hysterical and you have a horrible character judgment.
Great.
But
So
that's
can
all.
I respond now?
Go ahead,
To
Andrew.
all that prattle? So let me just respond and say, I think it's hilarious that you say, oh, I heart patriarchy. And the second you're in a conversation with a man, the first thing you do is go, how dare you speak over me? Oh, I'm a proud, strong woman. Look at how great I am. You haven't spoken about duty at all. Yes, absolutely, you're a covert feminist. The idea here of what you're talking about is just pure tone policing. It's pure tone policing. I love your messaging, Andrew. I think you're totally right. Everything you're saying is completely correct. But if you used a different tone and kissed women's asses and packaged it in such a way that they thought you were kissing their ass, they might be more responsive to it. That's in opposition to what I want in society. What that does is it curtails truth. What that does is it makes it so that you can't actually deliver a message in its proper context, its proper form, because somebody might take offense. That is the opposite of what conservatives should be doing. And it is the opposite when you see conservatives doing that you see work. Case in point, Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump wasn't sugarcoating anything. He called women ugly dogs. He called women fat. He called them obnoxious. He called them all sorts of things, and he's the president of the United States right now. And women, in lieu, actually voted for him this time around. So the thing is like all this PC, politically correct, woke fucking nonsense of, Andrew, you must correct your tone, because when I attack you, I do it in a passive-aggressive way. And when you talk to me, you talk to me directly. I think it's bullshit. It's nonsense.
I think you just take everything I say, put it through a weird machine, and then like spew it out and think I said something completely different.
Yeah, the machine's called logic.
I never said, oh my God, you're talking over me. This highlights exactly what I
you're
think.
Such a strong woman.
This is what I think. I think you just don't like women,
right?
and that your desire for this doesn't come from a place of you genuinely loving and caring about women and thinking that women
How
are
would
special.
you know? You can read my heart now.
The way that you're talking to me, you think that I had to freak out and set your time. I mean,
I'm talking to you like
you won't
a
let me
normal
get
person.
5 words out. It doesn't matter if I'm a woman or you're a man. It's called a debate and a conversation. And if you're not letting the other person get 5 words out, it doesn't matter about our gender. It matters. I don't know why you think that's crazy for me to ask you to be quiet while I respond to something that you said, or let me talk for 10 seconds without jumping over me when we can only hear one person at once. That's not, and of course you attribute that to me being a woman freaking out, but really just asking you to shut the fuck up for a second.
I'm gonna let
Right.
I'm gonna let.
Right. Wait, hang on. You're gonna hit me with, I heart patriarchy until the people who you would consider patriarchs are speaking to you, and then suddenly the patriarchy should be disrespected. You should talk over it. You should be able to do whatever the hell you want, right? So the second we come into this, we find out that no, your true nature is revealed very quickly. It's just another entitled, like TPUSA girl, right, spewing a bunch of nonsense and trying to pretend that you're a conservative. You're LARPing as a conservative, covert feminism.
Okay, Groiper. This is just...
We're talking about marriage, right?
Wait,
What
first
are we
of all,
talking about?
why are you calling me a groiper?
Because this is you're everything you just said. Like, I literally, it's just so obvious. Like, do you want to rewatch what you just said? You're telling me because I asked you to be quiet while I was saying something because you wouldn't let me get a word out. That means that I'm a fake feminist, and because you're a man, that I should shut up and just listen to everything you say and say, yes, sir, absolutely.
Didn't you?
I know a ton of leaders who are patriarchs who are much better men than you are, and I don't know who you are personally, but I'm saying as you're acting now, I would never subscribe to you as a leader, but that doesn't make me a feminist. That makes me understanding of how great men can be, and I don't think this is a shining example, and I don't think everything you say is good.
This is actually perfect.
I think strong men should lead us, and if I had to make that choice about you, I don't think I would be in favor of it, but I think strong men protect women, and they care about women, and good luck to you.
This is actually perfect. So the idea here is actually that you're the leader, see? So the idea here is, wait a second, I get to determine who leads who. I get to determine where they lead them. I get to make all those determinations. After all, Andrew, if you were some kind of leader, I'd never follow you. So the idea here just moves into the regressive notion of feminism. It is all the responsibility with none of the authority. When authority is exercised, the very first thing you do is rebel against it. So the very first thing you do is rebel against it. And so the thing is like, we can see this pattern over and over and over again with all of the LARPing conservative chicks. First thing you do is call me a groiper. What the hell does groiper ideology have to do with Andrew Wilson's ideology? Nothing. Complete straw man. Right? Made up because you were looking for a way to insult me. You didn't know what else to say, so that's what you said. Okay, groiper. It's like,
and you're not trying to insult me by calling me an undercover femovist LARPing as a TPUSA girl?
I just let you talk. Now I can't respond. So anyway, so moving back into this, it just seems like total and complete covert feminism. It's exactly what I expect. Anytime I argue with one of the faux conservative babes online, it's always the same thing. The second you get to the heart of it, it's women should be protected. Women should have their asses kissed, right? But men should have the responsibility with none of the authority. So like here, let me give you a demonstration of this if I'm wrong. Do you think women should vote?
Yes.
Should they be able to vote to send men to war?
You mean voting on a draft?
No, just voting, period. If you vote,
I think
you
women
can send
should be
men
able to
war,
vote.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, so send men to, and are you eligible to be drafted?
I never registered for the draft, but that is a
You can't be
position.
drafted.
For men.
I know.
You can't be drafted.
I know because the ERA never passed, and that's a position I've held. That as an
Who says
American
responsible?
citizen who has a right to vote, I think that women, even though as a society I don't think it would be helpful to send women to war, I understand my duty as an American that if America was in a war tomorrow and they said, you're an American, we need you to fight, this is my country, I want to defend it. But you say that I'm attacking you, but you called me a fake conservative. You said I'm an undercover LARP feminist.
Oh,
What makes you think of I'm a
yeah.
fake conservative? What does that even mean? I have ideologies. How can I be a fake conservative when I've lived my life by the
I'm
ideologies?
pointing it out to you right now.
And
I'm pointing
how?
it out
What
to you
make-
right now
what?
That if you say, for instance, that there should be egalitarianism, women should vote equal to men's vote, but women cannot be drafted and thus can vote to send men off to war. You're actually giving yourself a position of privilege in society that men do not have. Since this is the case, that you accept that there's privilege that women have, that men, on the other hand, do not have. You say, for instance, wait a second, I think it's my duty to get drafted. They're not going to send you to the front lines to fight. It's ridiculous. They never would. Our army would get crushed. So that doesn't even make any sense.
So you're pissed
Hang on. I'm almost done. I just let you talk. That's not that. First of all, it's not a conservative principle. It makes no sense at all, right? And again, this is the idea of men responsibility absent authority. Absent authority. It's still taking away authority. If you really wanted men to be an authority, why would you advocate women vote? That makes no sense.
Because I love voting, and I think women should vote.
Because you love voting?
Because I'm an active member of society. Okay.
Because I want to, Andrew. Because I want to.
Well, this is what I mean when you take what I say and you put it. This is why I called you a groiper too. You don't think women should vote. You take what I say and you put it through a ringer. It's not conservative to say that I would defend my country if we went to war, because I agree with the values of American values, and I think that's worth defending if it were to come to war. But at the same time, I don't think women. It's a mark of a good society where women and children are protected and they're not sent to the front lines like they're doing in Ukraine right now. There have been a lot of women who've been drafted. There are situations like that. That makes me a fake conservative.
I don't think there's been
Not drafting.
any
They were
women
asked. They were
drafted.
trying to recruit women because they've been running so low on soldiers. Can you mute? Okay.
Okay, so
I just
you gotta
knew.
just tell me.
You
I
know.
just want to answer my question. If
What's your
really
question?
want
When you
men
take
to have
everything
the
I say
authority,
and flip
if
it
you really
around.
want men to have the authority and women to be the followers and men the leaders, men actually have the authority, why do you advocate for women to vote? Can you actually tell me
Is women not voting going to suddenly is that going to take away every single woman from a powerful position in this entire country? Because we're talking reality. We're not
Yes.
talking in floofy land where
Yes.
anything can happen.
Yes, it
right
would.
now. Why do you think women should not have the right to vote? Why do you think that?
I just told you. So if you advocate that men have the responsibility, right, but they don't have the authority, which I think you're advocating for, it's a progressive feminist viewpoint. If it were true that you wanted men to have the authority, right, and the responsibility, then you would advocate only they voted and not women. Can you actually give me an argument, any argument at all, for how that doesn't logically follow?
It doesn't line up with the original land owning and everything that was said in our Constitution to provide voting rights. The fact that women can own their own land right now. What?
Women couldn't vote.
I know, and when we changed and gave women the right to vote, I think that was a good thing. I think it got more women involved, and I think this ideology of yours, and again, why I called you a groiper, is because the majority of reason why far-right men do not want women to vote is because women tend to vote liberal. I voted conservative across the board. I voted Republican in every election, but I'm not going to defend my values that I know near and dear to my heart and the candidates that I've worked for, including Rob Astorino. I was on Trump's team on his coalition of Jewish voices. Across the board, I have helped Republican candidates get elected, so I don't really care what you have to say, whether you think I'm fake or not.
That's not an argument. Can I actually get an actual argument from you? Here's the argument.
No, that's my response to you, and
If you
I'm
actually
kind of over
want
him.
men to have authority,
So can we just move it on?
authority
That's what he is.
and responsibility, and women to follow that authority and not have responsibility, why would you advocate women voted? That makes no sense. Can you give me an actual argument?
The strongest response for this time is that the men right now, you know, the old saying where good times create strong men, or whatever it is, good times basically create weak men. And I think we're in that time zone right now where if we were in the George Washington, are you going to let me finish? Thank you.
Go ahead.
If we were at a time where masculinity was very prevalent, I think this is a large issue where you have a sassy man apocalypse. We don't have men understanding what it means to actually be men. I think that if we were in a time zone where men were strong, true leaders, then we can go to that. But when we have men out here who are soy boys, they don't want to speak up, they support abortion, they think that they should just listen to whatever their wife should do, they don't actually think that a woman has a value, they think that they should be a stay-at-home dad, a lot of things like that. I think at this point in society that if we just handed it over to the men are having a lot of problems too. We can talk about lowering testosterone levels and everything across, hiring levels of anxiety and depression across the board. And I think it doesn't make me a fake conservative to say that I think there are good male leaders out there much better than you could ever be. And if you think you're compared to Donald Trump, that's funny.
That women need to lead.
Hold on,
you just
Andrew.
advocated that women need to lead and usurp men's authority. That was literally what you just
Men were better
advocated.
back in the
I can't
day.
believe you said that. I literally can't even believe
grandpa's
you said
generation.
One
that.
sec.
Believe
before
it,
no,
bitch.
Deborah,
Believe
Deborah,
it.
I'll let you respond. I'll let you guys get right back to it. I promise. I need to let a couple chats come through. We'll get right back to it.
Nashunabo donated $200.
Thank you,
When
Nasha.
Andrew asked the women to raise their hands if they think they're the prettiest, you mumbled under your breath after making a face like you might raise your hand. I'm not going to. Half.
I believe that he's talking to me, but what I said is
There's
that
another one coming through.
I said that I'm not going to do that because I was raised with manners, and I just think that it's not respectful to other people to boast about looks or try to say that you're better than anybody in a group, even if that's a social experiment. I just don't think that's
Nashunabo
respectful.
donated $200.
Thank you, Nasha.
We can see your inflated ego of self. You lead with nails and coloring because you are a pampered princess. You enjoy standing on your soapbox and casting stones, but you're the exact what you criticize.
There's one more coming after this, but your quick response to that if you want.
I lived in the Middle East. I've survived rocket attacks. I've survived drone attacks. I have volunteered with widows and warriors and people who are amputees and victims of war across the world. I don't know. That's my response. Kiss my ass.
All right. We have
it, sis.
Winged_Jaeger93 donated $200. Been a long time silent watcher of your content, Brian. Keep up the great work. Andrew, spit that fire.
Yeah, I would like to just real quick, and I'll move it right back to you. But just so you know, what you just said literally was that the reason that women need to vote is because we need to usurp authority from the men in society right now because they're too weak to have it. That was your actual argument. I
wasn't
can't
listening
actually
to you,
believe
honestly.
it, but you actually made that argument.
I wasn't listening to the first half. I was making sure I wasn't being
Well, here
again.
I'll go ahead and reiterate.
Whoa, okay, hold on. No. Stop.
We can debate on
Stop,
Piers
stop,
Morgan.
no.
This is a dating
Stop.
podcast.
Okay, first off,
Sounds like you're scared.
I kind of let
to have
No,
this
it just
out.
sounds like you
Stop.
are.
Hold on. Now I need to address
nice.
this bullshit here. This woman's trying to accuse me of I let it slide the first two times. You were not fucking Chase mistakenly put a Zin in your drink. I object to you trying to frame that, even if it's a joke, that he was trying to drug your drink. Now you're actually trying to. There's a little bit.
I was just checking
have you
what
ever
that
had
residue
water
was.
that? Have you ever had fucking water that has some bubbles in it?
It's not bubbles, it was
In
just
fact,
something on the
did anybody
top.
See, after I poured water into her drink, I poured some of it
you
into
poured it in.
fucking mine too.
Let me make a
Fucking
disclaimer.
absolutely ridiculous.
You would never drug anybody on the show. When I say Zin, that's not a way to drug people. It was literally just somebody accidentally spit.
I
And
had a
was
bottle
making-
of water
okay.
next to me. I poured some into yours, then I poured some into mine. There's
Not
me,
that
you
kind of
backwashed.
person.
Maybe you fucking backwashed.
I hadn't
into your own
drinking
drink.
from it yet, so that's why I
don't
was
know.
just. It could have been shit in my cup. It doesn't mean,
Sometimes
I don't know why
with
you're getting so
water-
upset, Brian.
Because you stopped the show. Oh, what's this? And then you're saying, but well, before we continue, let me make sure that
No,
Brian
I didn't hear what
fucking
he said.
drug my fucking drink.
I didn't say
What?
drug it. I said I was looking what was in it because he was saying something and I couldn't listen.
Yes, but I
to
need
it.
to clear up the air that the implication here is that
I don't think Zin is
put
drugging
something-
somebody, and I
it's
don't.
not a Zin. There was no Zin.
There was
There's
no
nothing.
implication that you put it in there. It could have already been my cup. There was just something floating at the top, and you were sitting next to me. So I said, "What do you think that is?"
Yeah,
I don't think
even
you poured it in there. I was just, "What is that?"
Here, for the girls
is
who
the
saw
dumbest
me
phrase.
pour the water, did you also, after I poured the water into the
No
cup,
one thinks you
saw
poured
me pour-
anything in my cup, Brian.
She's
It's
just
that
asking
there was
you.
something floating. It could have fallen from the sky.
gonna-
I could have turned to her
Little
and
quick
said that
trauma
she was sitting too
response.
far back. It was literally just asking. A hair could have been floating there. I would say, "What do you think that is?" I don't think you poured it in there.
Just the way you were framing it seemed
I don't
a
think
little
I broke my
fucking
bong.
I don't think that would.
accusatory, man.
Well, I'm sorry that if you felt that, I don't think he would ever do that. There was just
don't
weird
you love
shit.
apologies like that? Like, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Because I didn't mean it like that at all, and I'm sorry if it offended you and that you thought that I framed you in that light. Because I don't think you would
Yeah,
ever do
men
that
get
to anyone.
ruined over even the hint of an accusation like that. So, like, I know for women, you guys can just kind of like, you live in la la land because you have no fear of being falsely accused of fucking anything. But men's whole careers can be fucking ruined by even the hint of a fucking accusation. So, like, yeah, it's no big deal for you, but for us men, we take that shit really seriously.
I can understand
In any case,
that.
I didn't mean to interrupt that, but if you guys want to continue,
Well,
the
I just
exchange-
want to. We can.
I
just
want
go
to
to
next
close
topic.
that out. That
Yeah.
I understand that. I think that's horrible. For the record, nobody has ever drugged me or would ever try to drug me on this. Somebody accidentally spit in my cup last time,
stay away
and I
from
just
those
was
topics.
asking not because I thought you poured anything in it. I just saw something floating in my cup that looked like dirt or whatever it might be, and I didn't want to chug it if it was
Go
something.
get your own water next time.
That's
Like, I was trying to
fine.
do you a favor. I was pouring your own
I know,
fucking
and
water. Just go get
it
your
had
own
nothing to
fucking
do
water.
with you pouring the water. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life.
Again.
I understand that men can be extra
Too crazy
cautious
for me.
about it, and I won't make any more jokes about it, but it wasn't even a joke. I genuinely just saw something floating in it, and it had nothing to do with Zins. I just wanted to know, and he was talking, so I made a joke. I don't know, everybody's so fucking sensitive on this show. But
Next topic.
next topic.
I'm not sensitive. I just
Okay.
very quickly.
Okay.
I'm almost. I mean, I would just like a very quick answer to this. before
I'm
we move
sensitive.
to-
I'm gonna get a fresh glass of water before, because I don't want anybody to be upset about anything, so.
There's a glass of
that.
water,
I know,
right?
but apparently this is a bad water, so I'm just.
How is it?
I'll take your water.
How is it a bad
Wait, I'll
water?
take your
What?
water.
It has bad energy on it, because
thirsty.
I asked what was floating in it.
Wow. Now she just. This is ridiculous. Now she's just gone and tossed the water.
I'm cleaning out the cup because there was something weird in it.
There
Not
was
from you,
nothing
from whatever.
in. There's.
You get shit in your cup all the time. I don't
There's
know why
nothing
this
in your
is
cup. There's nothing in your cup.
Can we?
By the way, I trust you, but let me just dump the water. Oh my god. Absurd. Never had this happen on the show.
Let's do something else.
Okay, well, you need to be very clear and like walk back and like just making an affirmative statement on this.
Absolutely do.
'Cause I'm not gonna allow myself to be falsely accused.
Can I come to the
Brian,
next
falsely
podcast?
accusing
Because
you.
this is not it.
There was bubbles of some sort, not in concerned of a drug way. I saw a little fuzz piece floating in my cup, and I turned to anyone normal and would go, "What is that?" It could have been from beforehand. I just had curiosity, and I did not mean to implicate that it had anything to do with you pouring me the water or any of your actions. I was just asking anybody like I would here what their humble opinion, what that was. And that's all. And it's gone, and I got fresh water, not because I was concerned, but because maybe there was dirt in my cup from when I first got the cup, and I just wanted a clean cup now. So there's that. No one's drugging me. Nobody's doing anything.
There's a little
All
fuzz
right,
in
cool.
my
It's
cup too.
cleared
good?
up.
Is that
It's
good?
cleared up.
And I'm
We're
sorry, not that if you felt that way, but I'm sorry if I framed you in that light, because that was not my intention. Is that okay?
Next topic.
good. Yeah, no, we're